was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I...
Fans and teammate Caitlin Clark were taken aback when Sophie Cunningham unexpectedly revealed a $25 million Nike contract with Caitlin's name on it in the middle of the game. Cameras caught Caitlin's unfiltered, emotional response in real time: shock, incredulity, and happy tears as the arena froze. This was more than a contract. It was a moment that defined a career and made a strong statement about women's sports receiving recognition at last. What does this mean for Caitlin's future, though, and how did Sophie pull it off? Just watch to see how she responds. The unexpected moment, everything began just like every other day. Before the squad took the court, Caitlin Clark assumed she was going to a standard strategy meeting, just another planning session hidden away in a quiet conference room. She anticipated discussing some marketing presentations, going over a few updates regarding sponsorship opportunities she had been pursuing since before the draft, and then heading into practice. However, she felt that something was unusual as soon as she entered. There was an almost electric charge in the air. Sophie Cunningham, a seasoned WNBA player renowned for her unwavering poise and unrelenting determination, was seated at the table. Caitlin had always admired Sophie, a player who blended genuine kindness with ferocity. However, Sophie's typical composure had given way to a clear flush of enthusiasm today. She was holding a stylish folder close to her chest, as though it held something too precious to part with. She could barely contain her smile as her eyes glistened. Curious, Caitlin cocked her head. "What's happening?" Her voice was soft, but her heart was racing as she asked. Sophie took a while to respond. Rather, she got to her feet, approached Caitlin, and placed the folder in her hands. "Go on," she pleaded, her voice full of passion. "Let it open. You own this." Caitlin opened the folder with a hand that was a little shaky. Everything around her appeared to blur as soon as she focused on the document inside. She could hardly believe what she saw there, displayed in bold letters with the recognizable swoosh insignia shining up at her. A $25 million Nike endorsement deal. Her name was on one of the largest contracts ever extended to a female basketball player. Caitlin was unable to move or speak for a few startled seconds. It seemed as though everyone in the room was holding their breath along with her as the room grew silent. Her heart pounded loudly in her ears. This was the kind of transformative experience she had imagined in her dreams, the kind of recompense she believed may take years to materialize, if it ever did. As reality set in, tears clouded her eyesight. All the time she'd questioned whether her aspirations were too lofty, all the nights she'd spent working out alone in the gym, and all the naysayers she'd dismissed. Everything had come to this point. What was even more shocking was that this surprise had not come from an anonymous business boss. It came from Sophie, a friend and mentor who had discreetly worked behind the scenes for weeks, advocating for Caitlin with Nike's decision-makers and ensuring that her exceptional skill was acknowledged. Overwhelmed, Caitlin raised her head and met Sophie's radiant eyes. In that moment, she understood that she was not only seeing the beginning of a historic collaboration with Nike, but also witnessing a potent gesture of devotion and faith from someone who simply wanted to see her succeed. Many people stated how surprised they were by Sophie's warmth and consideration. So, is it an investment for the future or a genuine expression of love? Let's examine Sophie's path to fame in more detail. 4 years, Sophie Cunningham was the epitome of perseverance in the WNBA, going from seasoned underdog to unlikely historical architect. She gained notoriety through viral moments or eye-catching headlines, but rather through her fierce attitude and no-nonsense style. Sophie, who was drafted by the Phoenix Mercury, made a name for herself in the league by putting in the hard work, making clutch three-pointers, locking down opponents, and exhibiting a genuine and honest approach that fans found refreshing. Sophie's journey as an endorser was more modest than that of some of her classmates who went on to become the faces of major ad campaigns. Although they didn't generate millions of dollars, her decisions to support women-focused sports brands and collaborate with local companies mirrored her ideals. She wasn't the player that businesses were offering multi-million-dollar contracts to, despite the fact that the league admired her for her dependability and morality. Sophie was strategic, but she wasn't resentful. She was aware of the potential power of a significant endorsement agreement. It was about visibility, advancement, and changing the perception of women's sports, not just financial gain. Sophie recognized something extraordinary was taking place when she witnessed Caitlin Clark thrilling audiences, packing arenas, and garnering national headlines. Caitlin was a movement as well as a gifted athlete. In ways the WNBA hadn't seen in years, her personality, energy, and style were attracting fans. Sophie recognized a chance, but not only for herself, when Nike contacted her about increasing their commitment in women's basketball. She made the audacious and altruistic decision to draw attention to Caitlin Clark. Sophie advocated for Caitlin rather than promoting her own name. She showcased Caitlin's influence both on and off the court using statistics, videos, and anecdotes. She demonstrated to Nike not only Caitlin's athletic prowess but also her potential as a symbol. It was a big risk. The majority of athletes would have taken advantage of that opportunity to ensure their own future. Sophie, however, wasn't thinking tiny. Her trust paid off in unexpected ways because she thought that a deal for Caitlin may open doors for all women in the game. Nike paid attention. They gave it their all in addition to agreeing. The sports world watched in amazement as Caitlin Clark became the face of Nike women's basketball after a historic $25 million contract was signed. One of the loudest statements in recent sports history, that true leaders inspire others, was made by Sophie's silent act of support. Sophie's fingerprints were all over the place, even though her name wasn't on the contract. Because sometimes a legacy is founded on what you assist others receive rather than what you take. But why, of all people, did Sophia personally choose Caitlin? What makes her fortunate to receive the surprise? Let's take a quick look at the rookie who revolutionized the playbook before getting into the specifics. Clark. Caitlin. Caitlin Clark had a lot of expectations when she first took the WNBA court. She wasn't just any rookie. During her time in college, when she did more than just play basketball, she revolutionized it. Her name had already become legendary. She transformed ordinary games into national events with each stunning, long three-pointer and fearless, thrilling performance. Stadiums filled, television ratings skyrocketed, and individuals who had previously hardly watched basketball became into devoted followers. Her influence was cultural as well as on the scoreboard. Caitlin possessed a unique spark that enhanced the size, brightness, and excitement of everything around her. Excitement ensued when she decided to enter the WNBA. Ticket sales skyrocketed everywhere she performed. Media outlets were unable to obtain enough. Despite all the attention and promise, Caitlin had not yet secured a groundbreaking endorsement agreement, despite the genuine and ongoing excitement. Yes, there were discussions and brands around, but nothing tangible had emerged until a strong push from an unexpected source. Let's return to Sophie Cunningham now. Sophie, a reputable WNBA veteran, observed Caitlin's potential to alter the future in addition to admiring her skill. Behind the scenes, Sophie quietly but resolutely stood up for Caitlin. She realized that Caitlin was a once-in-a-generation talent who might usher in a completely new era for women's basketball, not just another rising star. The game changer then arrived. Nike intervened with a huge $25 million agreement that rocked the sports industry. This was a statement rather than merely a sponsorship. It made it clear to everyone that women's basketball is worth investing in, not just watching. According to reports, the agreement includes a unique trademark shoe line created specifically for Caitlin, extensive national advertising campaigns based on her story, and significant community initiatives aimed at advancing girls' basketball from the ground up. Every woman who has ever dreamed of putting on trainers and playing in the bright lights was represented by this moment, not just Caitlin. While NBA players land deals for hundreds of millions of dollars, WNBA athletes have worked tirelessly for years, frequently receiving little financial appreciation. A clear and annoying message was conveyed by that gap. However, that message is now being revised. What fans and insiders had suspected was confirmed by Caitlin's deal. Women athletes should be the focus of significant marketing initiatives since they can increase sales and attract viewers. Perhaps more significantly, it demonstrated that players themselves can affect change in addition to businesses or leagues. Veterans like Sophie have the power to change the rules, create opportunities, and leave legacies. Money and celebrity are not the only factors in this. Caitlin Clark is the name at the forefront of this pivotal moment in the history of women's sports. Given their shared interests, it makes sense that they would become friends. Let's examine the specifics of the friendship that inspires constructive transformation. When a friendship serves as a catalyst for transformation. The enormous sum of money involved wasn't the only thing that made this occasion genuinely unique. By all accounts, $25 million is a life-altering amount, but what really impressed everyone watching was the sincere generosity that went into it. What Sophie Cunningham done was not required of her. In those crucial Nike meetings, she might have devoted all of her time to discussing her contracts, deals, and how she should be paid more. Nobody would have held her accountable for that. She had, after all, spent years establishing herself in a sport where female players are always fighting for respect, acknowledgement, and financial security. Sophie has bigger dreams and wasn't only thinking about herself. She made a different decision than many people in her situation who could have solely been concerned with their own achievement. Sophie made the decision to help someone else by using her connections, reputation, and platform. She thought Caitlin Clark was more than just a gifted athlete. Sophie saw Caitlin as a spark that had the potential to transform women's basketball in ways never seen before. Sophie wasn't simply helping her buddy when she stepped up to help Caitlin get this historic endorsement deal. She was sowing the seeds of a better future for the WNBA as a whole. She had a strong understanding. One woman opens the door for others to follow after she breaks through the obstacles. All of a sudden, more spectators begin to watch the games. Sponsors begin to take notice. Everywhere, young girls start to envision themselves in professional